Time for the red light challenge. Right. All right. Video on how to use or how to set the blocks to the right scale. How do we do that? Let's go to AutoCAD here. So we know that everything on these legends is set for 1/8. Okay. So if you want to use a light and we're working at an 1/8 inch scale, we're good. If we're working at a 1/4 inch scale, it's simple, right? You copy the light, you put it near where you want, and you scale it by half. And then 5, and then it's at the right size. Also, if you click on it and you click on the properties, you see, and that's a weird one. Let's find something that has a better scale. Maybe this thing. That's also a block, right? And we click on it, we'll see it's set to 96 and 96 and 96 right there. Scale here says we're at 1/8 inch per foot, equals a foot, right? If you do the math, you find out there's 96/8 of an inch in 1 foot, and that's why it's 96. Okay. If you know how many your scale, how many of this first number are in the second number, then you can do the multiplication. So we know there's 96/8 in 1 foot, and that's why that's 96. What a 1/4 inch? 1/4 is twice the size. So there's 48. Okay. So if we change these to 48s, then we'll be at a 1/4. The other way to do it is to scale this by half. Let's see what happens. Scale it by half, we check on it, and sure enough, it turns to 48s, right? Now, so there's two ways of doing it. By scaling it, if you know the factor, by half, or by changing the number. One or the other. The 3/16 is trickier because you have to know the number. So it turns out there's 64 3/16 of an inch in 1 foot. Crazy math, right? So if we change it to 64, we'll be fine. Okay. The problem is that I didn't create these blocks. I stole them from somewhere. And I didn't steal them. I just copied them from somewhere. Nobody owns them, so it's not like I stole them. I just copied them from somewhere. You can go online and download these from everywhere. The problem is sometimes they're not as neatly as these. Sometimes, let's look at another block here. This one's like 112. Ooh, what happened? So now there's no 96. It should be 96. It's 112. It just got corrupted. Somebody copied a copy, and then you never know what happened. So, and then of course there was that light that had 11.5085, and so that also screws us up. So how do you do that then? Well, you can scale using a reference, okay? So let's copy this, and we know, you gotta remember these numbers. We know if we're at 1/8, that number should be what? What is our reference number? Yell it out if you know it. Yell it out if you know it. 96, right? 96, right? Okay, so you know the reference. If you want to scale, scale using a reference. So you go on the scale command, and then first just ask you, okay, what's your base point for scaling it? You can pick whatever. Let's pick the center. And then you want to scale it, and you type R for reference or click right here. So it's going to say, hey, what is your reference value? Well, my reference value is, yell it out if you know it, 96. Yes. And so then it says, okay, what do you want the new value to be? If we're going to make it a 1/4 inch scale, what's our new value going to be? Yell it out if you know it. 48. Good job. Multiples of 12 somehow. Multiples of 6 actually, but whatever. So if you make something that used to be 96 big, and now you make it 48, you basically cut it in half, and you hit enter, and sure enough, it's half the size it used to be. So that's how you scale using a reference. Say, it works for anything. So I don't have to know let's see. Say I have, real quick, say I have this base here, and I want to fit some random object, this object. I want it to fit in there. How do you pause? Give me a minute. So I want this to fit in there, but it's too big, right? I'm going to scale it and make it fit just in that. So I'm going to say scale. This is my base point. I'm going to say reference. I'm going to say this distance. I don't even have to know it. The distance from here to here is going to be the distance from the origin to there. And now it fits. I may have complicated things. So if we know what it used to be and we know what it wanted to be, then we can use the reference command. So the trick is with 3/16 is kind of, so all of these are 96. We want to make them 64s. So I'm going to scale that. Scale from the center. I'm going to say scale reference. They're at an eighth, so they are, yell it out if you know it, 96. And what do I want them to be? At 3/16, I want them to be 64s, right? Actually, no, multiple of 6, but whatever. So if I make something that used to be 96 is now 64, I hit enter, and now it's the right scale. It's a little bigger than the quarter. It's a little smaller than the eighth, and it's at 3/16 inch. So that now you learn how to make something 3/16 of an inch, and now you also learn how to make something, how to use the scale command using references. So if you know what it was, you know what I want it to be, use the scale command, but use the reference. That is the video. Time for the red light challenge.